Hospital port has pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. And may I add, Clatu Barada Nikto. What does that mean? Nobody knows. But I think it's actually interesting that the film we're going to deal with in this watch party is one that includes a constructed language, which is quite rare. I mean, there are some examples for Klingon in Star Trek and the Tolkienian languages, although they were invented for a book. It's very interesting that people construct languages for a story. I'm doing that for the Obscurity Chronicles, as you know. But yeah, this is another watch party. This is the introduction of the watch party. If you've not been to my watch parties before, do check them out on my channel. It's becoming something I'm quite enjoying, and you, the viewers, seem to like them too. Basically, it's what it says. We get together, we watch a movie, we review it, we discuss it. And my watch parties come in three parts. The first is an introduction, which is what you're watching now. Then follows a little bit later a review where I review the video and the film we're watching, and I assume you guys are as well. And then the final part is the live stream, where we have like a to and fro discussion about the film we've just agreed to watch. And I say film, some people have suggested can I do some TV shows as well, and maybe that's something we can sort of think about. Yeah, doing TV shows, maybe even documentaries. I mean, no, the list is endless, and in fact these watch parties really could go on forever if we wanted them to. Certainly for as long as any of us are going to live. The film we're going to be reviewing in this watch party, in this introduction, is The Day the Earth Stood Still. And as it happens, I've got it on DVD, which is the best thing to do. Actually, get your own copy. Don't rely on getting it on Netflix and Amazon and all these things. And even if you pay the $7.99, so you've got it forever, you don't know how long this website's even going to be up. Get the DVD of it, get your own independent copy, and then you'll be all right. This is actually a great, well-designed DVD here with the mysterious Gort and his laser beam. It's been colorized slightly. We'll put in a little bit of sepia there to give it a bit more appearance. This is the original sci-fi masterpiece, yeah. And I'll show you the back of it. There, you see this. You can pause and read the. You can see it. We'll pause and read the blurb if you want, but I'll tell you a little bit about the film in the introduction. Obviously, there's going to be no spoilers or anything in this particular introduction, even though I have seen this film before. It was actually quite a long time ago. I have seen the remake. There's a 2018 remake starring Keanu Reeves, which I watched a few years ago for the first and last time. It's really awful. I mean, even if it were a standalone film, it would be bad. But the fact that it's a cheap imitation, a pale copy of something so marvellous, makes it really galling. It makes it far more galling if it's just an original film. And I say that for nearly all remakes. Actually, they tend to be that. They tend to be very insipid kind of husks of the original that's just been dug up and reproduced. This, I think, is a major problem with Hollywood. Generally, I'd say the movie industry is losing its oomph. Totally and utterly, it has writer's block. It's trying to write through it, and it's failing, like people who have writer's block always do. And the reason for this, I don't know. Some people claim it's wokeism. It could well be. Well, that's certainly a factor. I think the woke agenda is certainly a factor. It's certainly robbing them of money. I mean, this is why they're trying to backtrack a little bit now, I think, on the woke stuff, simply because people aren't watching it. And I know some of the more pessimistic people in the distant circles are saying things like, well, they got woke, but they didn't go broke. Well, yeah, they have a lot of backup capital, so they can absorb these impacts. But at the end of the day, they are as much at the mercy of economic forces as everyone else. You can't. They're not invincible. They're not omnipotent. At the end of the day, people aren't going into cinemas, parking their bums on seats and buying tickets. They are going to go broke, and they know it. And I think some shareholders have given them some very nasty phone calls lately, I'll say. Yeah, I mean, I won't dwell on the remake because it's so terrible. But yeah, Keanu Reeves, he even has the audacity to he personally insisted to the director and the scriptwriter that the Clatu Barada Nikto phrase should be in it for him to utter. I mean, that guy is so far up his own arse he could lick the inside of his own tonsils. How dare he? I'm not going to watch that again, it's awful. The original one, it's a much older film from 1951. And it stars Michael Rennie and Patricia Neal and Hugh Marlowe. And there's a guy called Locke Martin as well in a one-off acting role playing a robot. But it's about, I won't, as I say, there'll be the spoilers will come in the review, and I assume you guys have watched it. Basically, it's an alien invasion movie, a type of alien invasion movie. In this case, it's just a single. It's just two aliens, one humanoid, one robot, but they have enormous powers. These two people, these two individuals, these two creatures, the humanoid alien, who looks for a human, in fact disguises himself as a human at one point of the story, and a robot, this giant robot, are enormously powerful. They have the ability to do almost miraculous acts. Maybe, as Arthur C. Clarke said, it's simply that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And indeed, this was one of Arthur C. Clarke's favourite films as well. So they have the ability almost to, like I said, it's almost like, I mean, some people have claimed that this is a Jesus-like figure, and we'll go into the meanings and symbolism and interpretation and subconscious drives within this movie during the review, but some people have interpreted this as a kind of messianic movie. There's several scenes where you see the main character, the main humanoid character, he seems all-powerful but also all-knowing. He seems to know so much. His intelligence level is way above like a human. And of course they have, very rarely, in an era where aliens were just expected to speak English, in an American movie, they've given him a constructed language. The planet he comes from has its own language, which is really quite, it's quite sort of like internationalist by early Cold War American standards. This is, I said, the beginning of the Cold War. 1951. It was actually based on a 1940 short story by Harry Bates called Farewell to the Master. It was adapted for the screenplay by Edward H. North, directed by Robert Wise, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. Actually, Farewell to the Master was actually the working title of North used it as the working title for the film as well. It's similar because it's interesting that it was a short story, not a novel. I find it interesting that the last watch party, They Live, that was also a full-length movie adapted from a short story. They presumably expanded it a little bit in terms of storyline, so there'd be more to pack in. This is a classic movie. The original is an absolute classic movie. The National Film Registry in the United States considers it historically, aesthetically and culturally significant. So this is being given its rightful place in history, unlike Harry Potter, as you know, in this country, it's just been rejected for again, bloody wokeism, isn't it? Damn wokeism. There's a few, like I said, I will go into the plots and themes during the review, but the U.S. Department of Defense did not participate. It did not lend its support. Now, the Pentagon is normally very happy to lend its support. In other words, providing advice, props, uniforms, and things like that for actors. If it considers the film if he considers that the film presents itself in the right way, in other words, noble, that the soldiers are brave, things like that. Very famously, they pulled out of several other films as well, such as they pulled out of Crimson Tide, things like that. And I think the reason is actually pretty obvious. It does have what I would say some subversive anti-establishment themes, and it kind of popularised the idea of, I think it may have inspired some later films of along the same variety, the alien invasion, landing on the White House lawn, First Contact type movies, like Close Encounters, etc. Although, that you wouldn't call that an invasion, it's just a landing with lots of people dancing around and pretty lights and things like that. You see, this is like you say this is an invasion, but it's like, as I said, I don't want to produce spoilers now. The actual the moral status of the main characters, the extraterrestrial character, is very interesting, because is he good or bad? This is a question. I mean, You see, in some ways it's a bad thing, and he's a very dangerous invader. In other ways, though, he's actually somebody. He's actually a benevolent, positive force. You don't know. It's a tricky one. But he's frightening in the sense, and people are frightened of him in this film simply because, and this is why I haven't watched it like for about God knows how long. And now I've got the DVD. I'll watch it again for the watch party. But you know, I have. It's like a kind of. You just see them there. I mean, obviously he's just like a humanoid. You know, he's like a humanoid. But it's like what is his role? Is his role positive or negative? That's a question I'd like you to think about while you're watching this film. The alien called Klaatu. He's not called like Prometheus or Zeus or anything like that, like most sci-fi films did in those days. He actually has a genuinely alien-sounding name, Klaatu, K-L-A-A-T-U. Is he good or bad? Is he positive or negative? One thing's sure, he is very frightening. The people during where he lands, near where he lands in Washington D.C., not on the White House lawn, but nearby. They're very frightened of him because of his power. His power is enormous. Although he's not invincible. He's not invulnerable, as you'll find out. Several people, including Colin Powell, who's just thankfully passed away, they reckon that when Reagan met with Mikhail Gorbachev in 1985 and made his speech, he did it twice actually. He made another speech at the United Nations the same year, where he said, I think how quickly our differences would go aside if we were faced with an alien threat from beyond this earth. Powell reckons that Reagan got that idea from watching that film. I doubt it, simply because Reagan didn't write his own speeches. I don't think he had the. Well, he wasn't exactly Joe Biden Gaga, but he was a little bit ditzy, wasn't he? And he didn't write his own speeches. At least, unlike Biden, at least he could actually recite them. But yeah, I think Reagan's speech comes from somewhere else, which I've talked about before. So that's where we're going to go with now. We are going to go and watch this film, and I'll come back to you in a little while, and I'll assume you'll have all watched it, and I'll make a little review video. Now, the good news is you've got plenty of time. Plenty of time indeed, because there's not going to be another video from me for probably about a week. The reason is, on Friday I'm going somewhere. I won't tell you where exactly, but I will take my camera. My trusty HPANWO TV camera will be at my side. I will be making a video reportage, and you'll find out what it is when I get back and I've edited the video and uploaded it. Soon after that, of course, there'll be the live stream watch party review, and then the Day the Earth Stood Still watch party review, and then the Day the Earth Stood Still watch party live stream. The film is I did say it was the Day the Earth Stood Still, isn't it? Yeah. This was actually a request. Someone actually requested this. There's the robot, you see, the robot. Interestingly, there's a guy called the guy inside the robot. He's called Lock Martin. You never see him. He's like Peter Mayhew, inside Chewbacca, who was a hospital porter, of course. God rest his soul. On Eternal Night Shift, Peter Mayhew. So he's that kind of character. You never see him, but he's inside there, and he actually found it quite difficult doing that role. But he was really tall. He was like 7 feet tall. For the same reason as Peter Mayhew, he was selected to play the robot because of his size. Mayhew, incidentally, they had real trouble getting a uniform to fit him when he was at Guy's. It was really amazing. They did manage to find one in the end, but it was lovely because when he died, Mayhew, of course, everyone in the glitterati were in show business were like paying tribute to him, but along with all the tweets from them, there were some from some old NHS veterans who remembered him when he was a porter. There was this woman who says, I was a ward sister in 1973, and I remember this really tall porter. Guys, why am I digressing into hospital portering things? Ugh. We're talking about the Day the Earth Stood Still. No hospital porters tonight, all right? So yeah, we're going to watch that film. We're going to do a watch party with that film. It was a request from one of you, I can't remember which one it was, but when you said it, I thought it was a good idea. I'm actually going to do another request. I'm going to do a request also for something else that somebody mentioned as well. They mentioned another film, which I'm going to do as well as a watch party when I've done this one. I've already made a note. So that's it. On the housekeeping subject, apologies for the comments reply video I've just done. I'm really sorry that I literally had to convert it to audio and to MP3 and just put in an illustration. The problem, I know what the problem is, don't worry, it is my new webcam. I've just got to find a way to reduce the resolution so that, because it was producing like 4K quality images with 6 or 7 gigabytes per hour. You know, it's like huge files that my editing software couldn't cope with. But I'm going to sort it out. To be honest, I could have done it at the time, but I couldn't. I just had too much to do, and I thought it's going to take me like another 24 hours. Like to like process and edit all these big files, so I'll just sod it, you know. So it is a bit lazy on my part, but I am up against the deadline because I'm going away on Friday. I've got other things to do as well, actually. I'm doing a live gas spanner tomorrow. That's why I was thinking of Hospital Porter. Yes, tune into HPANWO Radio 8 PM tomorrow night. The gas spanner will be live. No links. You bloody find it. It's just because it's a digression, so there'll be no links in the description box to that. So once my camera's sorted out, and it doesn't need fixing. I just need to alter the settings so it doesn't, so the resolution on the image is lower and it doesn't produce these massive whopping great big files. Anyway, watch the skies, guys. You never know what might turn up. One of these weird saucer things might land in the middle of your city. If they do, let me know. I'll tell you what, no one else will. Thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. See you next week. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.